Hello all you beautiful people in Webtown. Welcome to Crypto Comics. Like we always do about this time. As promised, we are back for another totally awesome comic book review here during Rob Liefeld Appreciation Month on Crypto Comics. This is Youngblood Battlezone #1, featuring the secrets of Youngblood's high-tech arsenal. And I'm going to reveal those secrets with the help of the indomitable Robert Liefeld, the main man at Extreme Studios back in the 90s. And here we go. This is basically just going to take us through the core crew. You know, we've got Shaft and Chapel and Combat and Vogue, and we're gonna see what they got. Die Hard's going to show up in here. Yeah, this is created by Rob Liefeld, penciled by Richard Horry, and the research also done by Richard Horry. Written by Eric Stevenson with inks by Danny Meeke and Norm Rapmond. And if you wonder who all these people are, you can actually find out about them if you go back in time here on Crypto Comics. You will discover the behind the scenes of Image Comics comic book called Image Plus. You'll learn about a lot of these guys. Same with the Extreme Studios Tour 93. Also tell you about some of these guys. So let's just take a little peek in here. This is very similar to a handbook to the Marvel Universe, if you're familiar with those from the 80s. I think they did some in the 90s too, maybe. It just basically kind of gives you all of these little tidbits of information about characters, their weapons, the places they live, the vehicles they drive, etc., etc. So this is Youngblood headquarters. There's the elevator that goes all the way down to the multiple levels. There's a combat situation room, what we might refer to as a danger room. Located beneath a government storage warehouse near the Pentagon in Washington, D.C., the headquarters for Project Youngblood houses the entire Youngblood team when on duty, as well as all of the various support systems and personnel that work behind the scenes to make Youngblood the ultra-successful operation it is. The entire structure of the complex makes use of a complex computer security system utilizing electronic surveillance equipment and both human and robot guards. In the middle of it all are some of the most state-of-the-art research laboratories on the face of the earth for use by Sentinel and the guys in R&D. That's research and development for all you youngsters out there. Also noteworthy is the electromagnetic fast rail system that gives us a direct link to the Pentagon and the underground freight rail tunnel that surfaces within a top-secret hangar located on Andrews Air Force Base, providing us with quick and easy access to our aircraft. See entries on hypersonic transport and helicopter dropship. Shaft. Shaft didn't write that, Eric Stevenson did. We both know that's the truth. And here's the Youngblood Mobile Command Center. You can see it can separate. You see how that works right there? All the shock-mounted seating, first aid equipment, 7.62 millimeter fire support weapon, a mortar array, so on and so forth. I'm not going to read about all these. We're just going to look at pictures today. I'm a picture book reader today. Here's the Youngblood Hypersonic Transport. Helicopter dropship. Ooh, Shaft's bow. This is fun. So these are the types of tips he has on his arrows. He has a razor tip, a sonic disruptor, armor-piercing tip, and a high-explosive grenade. His wristband transports telemetry between the bow and SMS-12. I'm not sure what SMS-12 means. Whatever. Safety mechanism keyed to a small identification device sewn into his glove. So basically no one can use this bow without Shaft's glove. That's cool. Prior to my being selected for service with the Youngblood program, my primary weapon was a standard issue .38 revolver. After all, my job with the FBI never really called for much more than that. Youngblood, on the other hand, is a completely different matter. I developed my proficiency at archery as a young boy, and it's stuck with me ever since. Which is why the guys in PA chose to outfit me with this high-tech compound bow, instead of something along the lines of what you'd find in Chapel's armory. While there are times when I question the convenience of using a bow as opposed to a gun, it's definitely one of the easier weapons to carry around, not nearly as heavy as that thing Chapel totes around. Also, as Timer loves to remind me, it looks good on film. This particular bow is quite different from anything ever used by anyone outside of the Youngblood program. Designed by Sentinel and based on Catalan technology, it isn't so much a high-tech bow as a linear accelerator. Simply put, it creates a small circular field of gravity in which I place the shaft of the arrow. When the arrow is drawn back, the tip activates a small 2mm gravity well, propelling the arrow through it and toward its target at varying speeds. Depending on the situation, I sometimes like to bring along a shoulder-mounted targeting device to enhance my ability to see or track a target in less than perfect conditions. The sight is equipped with a number of options: night vision, heat-sensitive infrared targeting, and speed distance calculation. Thanks to this little Hummer, I can stay on top of my target, whether he or she has darkness, fog, speed, or even invisibility on their side. This allows them to track. Ooh, Sentinel's Exo Skeleton. I know you're excited to hear about this. Arguably one of my greatest achievements as a scientist, and definitely one of the most useful. This fusion-powered, computer-enhanced exoskeleton was my ticket out of the research and development labs and into the Youngblood program. First designed in 1981, hardly a year goes by that I don't improve on the suit in one way or another, adding new weaponry or improving its overall performance level. Case in point would be the miniature fusion generator I recently had surgically implanted in my chest. Both cheaper and more efficient than the generators incorporated in earlier models, installing it into my chest makes it virtually impossible for the suit to be abused by the wrong people. Should it fall into their hands, it also negates the need to constantly recharge a battery. Case in point would be the miniature fusion generator I recently had surgically implanted into my chest. Both cheaper and more efficient than the generators incorporated in earlier models, installing it into my chest makes it virtually impossible for the suit to be abused by the wrong people, should it fall into their hands. It also negates the need to constantly recharge a battery, as the generator requires no more than a couple drops of heavy water to keep the fusion reaction going strong for several years at a time. Anticipating the day when I actually have to add more water to the generator, I redesigned the suit's chest plate to accommodate an external injection port that works in conjunction with a small epidermal reservoir located just below the skin. When the generator begins to run low, the suit's central processing unit activates the injection port, which in turn fills the reservoir with the necessary amount of water, eventually completing the process by filling the fusion chamber. Of course, by the time the refueling process is needed, I'll probably have redesigned the suit to bypass such measures. The fusion generator also powers my anti-gravity belt, supplying it with enough energy to generate a local field of negative gravity that lowers my relative gravimetric weight to the point where I can fly with the assistance of my jet boots. The generator also fuels the battery storage cells from my weapon system, including my wrist blasters. Finally, one of the wisest decisions I've made in some time was to install a force field generator array in the suit's collar to protect the one part of my body not protected by the exoskeleton itself, my head. The field can be extended to cover my entire body, but its primary usage is obviously to keep my skull intact when things start to get rocky. As with most of the onboard systems, it runs off energy supplied by my internal fusion generator and is more practical than a helmet or visor. Yeah, there you see the wrist blasters, the anti-gravity belt, plasma storage weapon system, force field generator array, internal fusion generator. What's it got down here? Boot jets, fuel cells for boot jets. So that's Sentinel's exoskeleton. Pretty cool. Nice art too. Ooh, here's one for all you Spawn fans out there. Chapel's Armory. A few years back I realized that the standard issue weaponry doled out to me by Central Intelligence would never cut it in my line of work. After all, let's face it, it's kind of hard to switch from using a grenade launcher to a submachine gun in the middle of a firefight. Being the kind of guy who always likes to have as many options at my disposal as possible, that presented a bit of a problem. As it turns out though, there was a fairly easy solution to my little problem. The guys in research and development took the best aspects of both, a standard 9mm submachine gun and a 40mm grenade launcher, and put them in the same housing, adding a few innovative extras just to stay ahead of everyone else's game. One case in point is the dual triggers built into the gun's grip. There's a thumb trigger for the grenade launcher and a finger trigger for the machine gun, allowing me to alternate between the two or use them both simultaneously. The grip also incorporates an encrypted safety seal system keyed to my palm print, making it impossible for anyone else to use this sucker. The grenade launcher uses 40mm shells full of high explosives and can do a heavy amount of damage from as far away as 440 yards. Add that to the 4-barrel alternating rapid-fire submachine gun, and whoever's on the receiving end of this puppy is in some serious trouble. Of course, I don't need a beast like the grenade launcher machine gun in every situation, so I make sure to carry plenty of smaller toys to use during less intense confrontations. Radio-controlled gas and fragmentation grenades, a 9mm pistol capable of firing various forms of ammo, including armor-piercing bullets, rubber bullets, and safety rounds, a heavy-duty combat knife, and an electronic shock button, a cattle prod with a fancy name as far as I'm concerned, all come in handy depending on the situation. Love that knife, love that gun. Rob draws totally awesome guns, in my opinion. And there's Chapel's Hypercycle. Okay, fun. Ooh, Vogue's weapons. A Gurkha knife, dueling knife, shurikens, Katar knife, samurai swords, kusarigama, and optional attachments for her claw, standard razor, sawtooth razor, climbing hook spike, armor-piercing spike. Let's see what she has to say. Chapel's got his guns, Shaft his bow. Me, I prefer weapons that let me get up close and personal with my opponent. While some consider my reluctance to use more conventional weaponry and eccentricity, I've rarely faced a foe who couldn't be disposed of with a sharp thrust from my Katar. My favorites include the kusarigama, a sickle-like weapon that always proves to be a deadly combination. The chain entangles, the sickle does the rest. And my detachable claw. Originally, I was a bit apprehensive about the claw. I thought it looked like something out of a comic book or a bad horror film, but its usefulness far outweighs its lack of aesthetic appeal. A variety of blades can be used to augment the claw's capabilities, and it slides onto the wrist like a bracelet or a watch. What could be simpler? Die Hard's equipment. He's got a 90mm pulse cannon, a shield, a couple swords, cybernetic recharging slab, because, he has to recharge. He's, just a walking, talking battery. Here we have combat's gear, a fusion cannon, battle shield, his power staff. I'm not going to read all that. Combat's armor. I'll read it, sure. Oh, it says Sentinel, but I really want to read it like combat, so I'm just going to do that. Light years ahead of anything developed here on Earth, my Catellan battle armor has been an invaluable resource for everyone involved in Youngblood's research and development department. Incorporating a highly advanced cybernetic interfacing system, I'm able to control the various functions of my battlesuit from within my helmet, from the folding unfolding of its metal sleeves, to the targeting of the dual beam energy pistol, showing it right. The helmet also serves as an environmental stabilizer, permitting combat to travel in space or underwater for limited amounts of time. Now that I've done that Russian accent, I can't get it out of my head. I have to continue to speak like a Russian no matter what, and I want to make it sound more like John Rice Davies, but I'm having trouble. I keep falling back into the Russian. We've got a aural receiver. It's a fancy word for an earpiece. Transmission antenna, transparent faceplate, environment compensators, cybernetic interface, a comm link, heads-up display, ECM aerial, self-sealing wound-proof synthetic material. That's what his pants are made of. Polyorganic metal sleeving unfolds from his wristband. So this is cool. It's like a cable arm, but it just like unfolds up his arm. That's fun. Funky fresh. Feel the blood. They did. Blood striking brigade. You know all about that, don't you? Oh! Dooms 4. Coming in June of 93. This is single-handedly the most overhyped book in Rob's career. I don't think anyone could even argue that. Rob, I recall in the back of one of these comic books I own in my Liefeld long box, I recall Rob bragging that Spielberg was interested in making a movie about this. It might have been in a comic shop news. It might have been in one of those Inside Image books. Yeah, this is not living up to the hype. Not the Fantastic Four, not Doctor Doom's Fantastic Four, it's just Doom's 4. So that is a look at the weaponry and high-tech arsenal of our friends in Youngblood. But wait, there's more. What do you mean? What do you mean, Crypto? I mean, Youngblood Battlezone 2. Let's just get right into this, huh? This takes you through all of the characters and gives you backstory. Backstory. Beginning with our boy Badrock. Did you know his real name is Thomas John McCall? He's 8 feet tall, 1,800 pounds. Was born in Baltimore, Maryland. Oh man, I've been giving him that dang California accent too. He's a Baltimore boy. Dang. I apologize to those of you who watched the video earlier today of Youngblood issue 6. My bad. Thomas John McCall is the son of Dr. Joseph McCall, a leading genetic researcher for the United States government. By the age of 16, Thomas was a classic underachiever. He was failing most of his classes in school and felt isolated from other kids his age. Eventually, his boredom and frustration with his young life led him to his father's lab, where, in a desperate move, he swallowed a vial of top-secret genetic material created by his father. The serum restructured his DNA and literally transformed his physical structure from human flesh to a granite-like form of organic rock. His startling transformation was a scientific miracle, and his father immediately sequestered Thomas into a high-security research facility for further study. Dr. McCall quickly learned that his son's strength was 648% greater than that of an average 16-year-old, with this figure growing to 885% by the time of his physical maturity. After learning how to control his newfound power, Thomas was recruited by the government's high-profile super team, Youngblood. Accepting Youngblood's offer, Thomas assumed the identity of Badrock and was assigned to Youngblood's domestic-based unit. Badrock remains an active member of Youngblood to this date. And, it talks about his chief assets, superhuman strength and durability. Ooh, Chapel. Wait, what's this? Oh, the Berserkers. We're going to save that one because I actually have Berserkers issue number 1. We'll go through it. Brahma, I never liked, so we're going to skip him. Ooh, Chapel, though, as drawn by Jay Lee. We know his real name's Bruce Stinson. He's 6'4", 225 pounds. His occupation, he's a professional killer. Place of birth is classified. We already know about him. He's a renowned womanizer and ruthless killer. Oh, combat? See, we know about combat. This is drawn by Stephen Platt. Very nice. Very nice indeed, isn't it? I like to think so. We kind of know about him too. Came to Earth, criminal alien. Oh, Cougar. We don't know much about Cougar, do we? Let's find out. His real name is Daniel Tsuchida. Oh, really? He was born in the Congo Basin in Zaire? Huh, Tsuchida. That sounds like a Japanese name. Okay, here we go. His mother was Megan Tsuchida. His father was Kyland. Interesting. Daniel Tsuchida is the son of an American paleobotanist, Megan Tsuchida, and the Jakari king, Kyland. During an expedition to Zaire's Congo Basin in search of a rare species of flora, paleobotanist Megan Tsuchida was captured by a tribe of cat people. Among her captors was King Kyland, who perceived Megan as non-threatening and used his influence as leader of the Jakara to ensure her survival. The two lived together amid widespread protests from his people, eventually falling in love and producing Cougar as the result of the forbidden union. The birth of a half-breed Jakara was more than Kyland's people could tolerate, so they hunted their king and his family, intent on killing both Megan and her child. Kyland fought off his pursuers so his family could escape, but at the cost of his own life. Megan returned to America and raised Daniel in seclusion. Years later, Daniel was offered a spot in the Youngblood program by Sentinel. He accepted and chose the identity of Cougar. He possesses superhuman strength, speed, agility, and stamina, and is a master of hand-to-hand fighting techniques. I wonder if they've actually told this story in some of these comics. It's been a long time since I've actually read the Youngblood series. And I might have to, because this history would make for a great comic book. Could do an entire issue just about Cougar. Oh, there's Cybernet, the baddies. Lord Darkthorn, another baddie. Oh, here we go. Die Hard. Joey Mads drew this. Inked by Art T-Bear. I love that. His real name is classified. 6'3", 250-pound government agent. We don't know where he was born. Chosen in the 1940s to become the first of the U.S. government's genetic experiments, the super soldier known as Die Hard is one of Youngblood's most mysterious members. Though he has served in nearly every incarnation of the team since its inception, none of his teammates know his true identity. Commonly believed to be the first successful fusion of man and machine, Die Hard is characterized by those who know him as a man struggling to understand his own identity. With such a long history of membership in the Youngblood program, Die Hard is understandably wary of the arrival of new Die Hard units, updated models for which he was the template. Regarded more as a combat unit than a man, Die Hard is also constantly wary of his selection for assignments, regarded to be suicide missions. Oh, my boy Dutch. That's what I'm talking about. Real name's unknown. He's 6 foot tall, 230 pounds. Place of birth, Portland, Oregon. Self high five. I know. Everybody thinks Portland's a cesspool. Portland's not a cesspool. We just have a real crap mayor who has basically allowed a terrorist organization to take over the town. It's very sad. It's very tragic. Portland's a beautiful place to visit, though. If you ever come, I'll show you around. Guaranteed. So let's find out about my boy Dutch. Who was this drawn by? This looks really great. Oh, of course, Chap Yape. Inked by Dan Panosian. Half man, half machine, the enigmatic Dutch was initially part of the terrorist faction known as Cybernet, serving as an elite gun for hire. During a mission in Nicaragua, however, Dutch was betrayed by his cybernet leaders, which resulted in the loss of his right arm. Though his arm was later replaced with a cybernetic prosthesis, Dutch was never able to forgive Cybernet for the betrayal. His loss of trust in his leaders led him to rebel, causing a rift between himself and Geiger, leader of Cybernet and his former friend. After being captured by an early Youngblood team, Dutch traded Cybernet secrets for an early prison release. After several years of quiet retirement in Virginia's Blue Ridge Mountains, Dutch was contacted by Youngblood's Sentinel and was offered a spot on Team Youngblood in exchange for his help in combating Geiger's latest plan for world domination. Though he accepted the assignment under duress, Dutch would like nothing more than to live out his life quietly and peacefully. Dutch has a wide range of cyber armament, as well as personal cyber implants. He possesses cybernetic headgear containing a device called RT that interfaces with his implants and acts as a bridge between his chips and other computer systems. On his first mission with Team Youngblood, Dutch used his unique biocyber circuitry to disarm the Liberty II's self-destruct system, effectively rendering Geiger's plan useless. In addition to his cyber implants, Dutch has had extensive training in the martial arts and is a master hand-to-hand combatant. Cool. Chap Yape, I love your art. Always have, always will. The Four. Strong Arm Gauge, Starbright, and Deadlock, who's inactive. Whatever. Let's keep going. Geiger, we've been introduced to him. Alexander Graves. We're gonna find out more about Graves here as Rob Liefeld Appreciation Month continues, so I'm not gonna bother to read this. We all know he's kind of the guy in charge of Youngblood, the liaison between Youngblood and the United States government. And there's a lot more about him you don't know yet, but you will find out. Kanan, not Conan, Kanan. I'm not going to read it. Kiever is a highly placed Secretary of Intelligence for the United States government. His current assignment is as an administrator and co-director of the Youngblood program, placing him in direct supervisory control over Team Youngblood. So, there we go. He has a profound belief in the Youngblood program and is among the people in charge of the Blood Pool, the training ground for new recruits into Youngblood. And we'll talk about Blood Pool also as Rob Liefeld Appreciation Month continues. Night Saber, we've covered Night Saber just in our last video. He was born in Melbourne, Australia, though. And we'll see him again in the future, I think. Oh, now Link. History. File closed. Prior to his disappearance in action and presumed death, Link was believed to be one of the most powerful telepaths on Earth. Got to get those Youngblood comics. Youngblood number 0. Has a minute. Oh, what's this? Lynx. Not Link. Lynx. She's also a Jakara. She was the leader of the Jakara following the murder of Cougar's father, Kylan. Oh, Masada. Yeah, I love Masada. An Israeli superwoman empowered by the souls of her countrymen who died in the battle from which she took her codename, and the souls of all those who gave their lives in the name of Judaism. Deborah Konigsberg joined Team Youngblood shortly before Geiger's hijacking of Liberty 2, and has remained with the team ever since, forming friendships with many of her teammates, most notably Riptide. Despite her upbeat and somewhat conservative nature, Deborah is a troubled young woman. Though her abilities are to increase her size and strength at will, the voices that echo within Deborah often overwhelm her emotionally. She craves the solitude of silence, but is forever burdened by the cries of the dead. So, if you don't know, Masada was a fortress built atop a high ridge. And it is a place where Jews fled from Roman soldiers. And as the Romans were ascending the cliffs, the Jews decided it would be better to commit mass suicide than live under Roman rule any longer. They would not live in servitude to Rome. And that's where the name Masada comes from. You can Wikipedia it. It's a fascinating, fascinating story. Look it up. Oh, and see, there's Overkill. I was talking in the last video about Overkill. So here he is, you know. This is the character that was created by Rob Liefeld and Todd McFarlane while Stan Lee made fun of them. And Marvel decided, oh no, we own Overkill. So they got together, they redesigned Overkill, and, you know, gave a big FU to Marvel because Todd didn't get that watch. He wanted that watch. Proton. I am a big fan of Proton. He's from the planet Acura, which is obviously named after Honda's car. Hailing from the planet Acura, the silver-skinned Photon is bitter rivals with fellow Youngblood member Combat. Crash landing on Earth aboard the same ship as his Catalan counterpart, Photon was offered sanctuary in exchange for his knowledge of Acuran technology. Photon is disadvantaged by an inability to master Earth languages, and therefore the government knows very little about him. But they do know that when he and Combat crash landed on Earth, either he or Combat was a prisoner on the ship, and one or the other was the pilot. Like all Acurans, Photon has the natural ability to fire pyrokinetic discharges from his hand. Though the exact nature of the bursts are unknown to Earth scientists, the emerald energy is recognized as highly effective against an average combatant. Photon also emanates a constant stream of energy from the top of his head. Despite being intensely hot, this energy does not have an offensive application. In addition to providing offensive weaponry, Photon's energy envelops him and acts as a gravity neutralizer, allowing him to fly on Earth and in zero-gravity situations. Oh, Sci-Fire. We'll learn about Sci-Fire more as our Rob Liefeld Appreciation Month goes on. Ooh, Riptide. Her real name is Leanna Creel, and she was born in St. Petersburg, Florida. Originally one of Youngblood's more reluctant members, Riptide gained her abilities during an undersea accident that would have left her dead if not for a chance encounter with the mysterious Sea Witch. Since then, Leanna Creel has become an integral part of Team Youngblood, despite the fact that she initially signed on just to make some quick cash. Strong-willed and intelligent, Riptide often finds that her greatest enemies are not the many supervillains Youngblood faces, but the various prejudices and stereotypes held of women possessing her physical attributes. Riptide possesses the ability to draw moisture from her surrounding environment and manipulate it to create tidal waves, geysers, and water spouts. She and others can also ride the surface of the water as a mode of transport during combat situations. During personal combat, she has also been known to drain all the moisture from a person's body, effectively dehydrating them, or worse. Sentinel, we kind of went through Sentinel. My boy Shaft, Jeff Terrell, we don't know where he was born, and we don't know if he has any known relatives, though I think we kind of do know that because, you know, Lieutenant Colonel Bravo had that picture of him when he was a kid. You'll find out about that more later. Oh, there we go. Yeah, Showdown, don't care. Troll, Though his exact origin or the cause of his prolonged lifespan is unknown, the man known to his fellow Youngblood members as Bartholomew J. Troll is a staggering 3,000 years old. A notorious figure throughout world history, Troll's presence first became known to the United States government during the Revolutionary War. A trusted advisor to many of America's presidents, among Troll's greatest accomplishments were the missions he carried out for President Franklin Delano Roosevelt during World War II. As times changed, Troll became an independent adventurer, but he always retained his unique relationship with the American government. Following the election of President Bill Clinton in 1992, Troll was asked to serve the U.S. once again by an old acquaintance, Youngblood director Graves, this time as a member of Youngblood. Needless to say, Troll gladly accepted and has since become one of Youngblood's most popular members. Ain't that the truth? Oh, Tyrax, another villain. Vogue, the world-class gymnast who defected from Russia and joined the Youngblood. And Youngblood in general. There they are. And there's Team Youngblood. And that is the end. New Blood, a two-part crossover coming this November in New Men number 8 and Team Youngblood number 15. I actually have this. I could read this. Interesting. Oh, here we go. Youngblood Year 1. The secrets are out. This never came out from Image. It would be like, geez, 10 to 15 years later that this was released through Arcade Comics. This would be after Rob left Image, after Rob left Awesome Entertainment. Like, this is something that's going to come near the end of Rob Liefeld Appreciation Month. But we will get into this because I am a Liefeld fan, and so I actually have what this became, which would be, I believe, Youngblood Genesis. I've actually not read it yet. I bought these at a comic shop in Portland called Cosmic Monkey, and they had a bunch of the rare Youngbloods that were independently released by Rob through Arcade, and I have all of them except for one issue that I hope to secure someday soon. That's a little difficult to find though. So wow, that's the team. That's our friends in Youngblood. I hope you liked it here on Crypto Comics, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you're new, subscribe, hit that ding dong for notifications because I'm coming back each and every day of October for Rob Liefeld Appreciation Month. Plus, we got a bunch of stuff coming up for Halloween too, so stay tuned for that. If you are a crypto knight, please go to megawattcomic.com and support our Kickstarter campaign for Megawatt versus the Vampires of the Sun. It would mean the world to your boy Crypto if you would do that for me. And I promise I will give you an entertaining story that you will want to share with kids in your family. Just the way I share these comic books with you. I'll see you tomorrow right here on Crypto Comics. Thanks for watching.